Hello and welcome to Mente de Madre Leona. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about the path to our goals and dreams. This past week I have really felt that I'm at a crossroads with my blog and podcast and social media and my fitness / weightlifting training. It seems like everything has sort of progressed to a new place, and I had not expected that when I first set out on this path. So I'm starting to think about where to go next, and it really is like a crossroads where if I go this way, this will happen, or if I go that way, this other thing could happen. And so I've really been contemplating how this type of scenario has played out repeatedly throughout my life as I've made different goals and succeeded in those goals. And at this point in my life, being a little bit older, 39 now, I have found definitely some better approaches to help me move forward on my journey without causing myself undue stress and unnecessary anxiety. So I thought that I would share some of those thoughts with you, and I do hope that they give you some motivation and strength throughout your journey. For me, one of the things that always helps me is to stop and read some of my favorite books. And for one of the books that really has helped me throughout this process of starting a blog and a podcast, it's by Dorie Clark, and it's called Entrepreneurial You. And you can get it on Amazon. She's got a great Instagram account, super inspirational. She's got really awesome TED Talks. So those TED Talks also, that's a really awesome source of motivation if you are trying to figure out which way to go and just kind of need not necessarily someone to nudge you in a particular direction, but sometimes hearing other people's stories can really key you into where you're at in your journey and where you actually want to go and what steps you need to take next. Because sometimes we can be in kind of a foggy place where we're like, I know I need to take some action here, but I'm not really sure which way to go with that action, even though you know you're totally capable of it and you completely want to. So personally for me, I just always turn to Dorie Clark's books. She's got a couple of other really good books. I'm reading through another one of them right now. They're just really awesome. So check her out. She's, got all of her books on Amazon. Okay, so that's definitely one of my top tips is I just go straight to people who have a lot of experience. Number two, I always like to think about this quote that I came across in one of my children's books. I buy a lot of books, as I'm sure y'all have started to notice, and that includes children's books. And if I find them at a thrift shop or a garage sale, I'm super excited to bring those books home and give them another loving place to be cared for and just adored by my children. So one of the books that I picked up at a garage sale last year from a beautiful family was The Giving Tree, and I had no idea that it was such a controversial book. But inside the book, someone had written a personal inscription, and it said, "Remember that you are always right where you belong." And to me, you could argue whether that had anything to do with the Giving Tree or not. But regardless of your views about that book, I think that we as women have to remember that we are always right where we belong. And that is so comforting in times where we can feel a lot of turmoil and need to move forward. We can remember, I'm right where I need to belong. And when you're able to calm down and reflect, it's amazing how the path forward can begin to clear itself for you. So again, remember, you are always right where you belong. It was just an anonymous description or inscription. Looked like they had given the book as a gift. So the next one, anxiety can plague our minds and make us have this panic that we have to figure this all out right now. We can't sit still. We got to get it figured out. We got to just almost act crazy. And the fact of the matter is goals and dreams, they take time. And roadblocks and challenges are best solved with a calm and a peaceful mind and heart. When we get full of anxiety, we really risk making decisions that are essentially based off fear, and those can completely take us off track. When I reflect on my life and the goals that I made for myself that didn't go so well, I definitely can see how anxiety was so prevalent in those situations. And that was a big negative. So really getting rid of that anxiety, and if you're really fighting with anxiety and it's troubling you, take a step back. Don't try to make those decisions or those steps right then and there. That is a time that you need to focus on something else, whatever that may be, and work on yourself. And then once it's cleared up, again, it's amazing because once that anxiety steps away, the path seems clearer. So in those times, you can also meditate, you can do critical thinking, because maybe there's something below the surface that is really bothering you, and you need to clear that up before you can push forward. So another one is letting things work out, or the flow of life. That is really different than procrastinating or forcing things to happen. When we go through the flow of life, we can be super calm, we can be level-headed, we can be full of gratitude, and we can progress on our journey to our goals without getting back into that anxiety. We can understand that there are good things for us ahead and right now, and we can focus on those things instead of getting into panic mode. It can be so easy to procrastinate because in that sense, we are knowing that there's action that we can take, that we're completely capable of taking that action, but we've got some kind of fear that's holding us back from taking that action. Also, on the flip side of that, the opposite is when we are forcing things to happen instead of allowing them to happen. And I look back at my life and I see some goals that I did accomplish, and I see how I forced them to happen. And I can look back and say, I did it. I accomplished that goal, and, woohoo for me. But at the end of the day, I'm not proud of those goals at all. And they didn't really add a tremendous value to my journey overall in my life. So I'm glad to take the learning from those moments ahead. But now I've learned that forcing things to happen is just not going to be beneficial in the long run. It may seem like it, because as women and as mothers, so often we can want to get into the checking our list off every day that we've gotten all these things accomplished. And we can be the same way with our goals and our dreams. But sometimes you've got to let things evolve on their own. And so getting pushy either with yourself or other people or whatever the case may be, it's just not going to be the best case scenario. But again, you also can't just sit there and procrastinate and say the universe is going to take care of this. You've got to still take action where you see it's the right time. And that's really trusting in yourself. So years ago, this is the next one, I had a bracelet that I always wore. I'm sure I've got it still somewhere. And the inscription on it was a very famous Ralph Waldo Emerson quote. It's not the destination, it's the journey. And I wore that bracelet as a continual reminder of that it's not the destination, it's the journey. And it seems that when we reflect on our journey to a goal or a dream, the moments that we remember and cherish the most are along that path to get to that goal. It may be the people that you come into contact. It may be the small victories that you made along the way. It may be sharing those moments with your children or your spouse, whatever it may be. It could also just be the evolution of yourself, whether it's your mind, your body, whatever it is. Those are the moments that we look back at and think about and want to rehash them in our mind because they feel so good. So as you go along your journey to your goals and dreams, remember you're living the best part of your goal and dream right then and there. The next one is, along your journey, you are likely to face some times of uncertainty. We don't have a convenient how-to guide on a lot of the goals and dreams that we make because we are all unique. We absolutely are all unique. We all have our own. So you don't have this convenient guide of how to navigate your journey. And I'm so sorry, my little 2-year-old just came running in here to tell me something. So cute. So paving your own path does not come with a convenient how-to guide. We are absolutely unique. We all have our own stories and our own journeys to navigate, and we can relate to each other in so many different ways, especially as women. But at the same time, we have to remember that as we go along our path, there are so many resources that we can use to help us go along our path. But it can be difficult because sometimes we are somewhat out on our own. We've figured out that we want something and we're going towards it. And it may be something that we don't know anyone who's navigated this particular goal or dream. And a book isn't going to cut it, or a video isn't going to cut it. We're going to have to figure this out on our own. And so don't let those times of uncertainty hold you back or stop you, because you can rely on your intuition. And importantly, remember your reasons for setting out on your journey and keep pushing forward. There's always going to be mistakes that we make in life, but we learn from them and we continue forward. For me, one of the things that I've done in my life was really unique was I went to law school, and no one in my immediate family had gone to law school. I've had, distant relatives that have been long since passed away, like passed away 50 years ago, who had gone to law school. But as far as anyone in my family that I knew no one. So I had no support of people saying, oh yeah, first year's like this, second year, third year, yeah, you can do this. Oh, contracts isn't that bad. Just wait till you get to, whatever class, real estate law or something. I didn't have anyone to help me go through that journey. And so it was very scary. I had a tremendous amount of uncertainty. And if you heard my story of how I went through law school, you'd probably think there was no way I possibly could have ever graduated. But I never let that uncertainty stop me. I just kept pushing ahead, one foot in front of the other. No matter how hard it was, I kept going. And I eventually did graduate. So you've just got to be your own advocate, your own cheerleader, and know that just because there aren't people out there telling you exactly how to do it, you have the ability to figure it out. You are that strong. You have it within you. You've just got to take hold of that belief. So the next one is, when we're pursuing our passions, it's easy to get a lot of positive energy going, especially at first, and get really excited about what we're doing and sharing it with everybody. Or sometimes, we're a little more private about it because it's like this amazing thing and we really want to hold on to it and be quiet about it. But there are times where you're going to have to do things that are more mundane and they're not very exciting. And just remember that when you go through those times, that's okay. Not every minute of your journey is going to be exciting and, full of all of this positive energy. So don't let that stop you. Don't let that slow you down. If you've got to deal with, say, setting up a business and, setting up your S Corp or whatever it may be. No, that's not fun. And going down to the Secretary of State and all of that and setting up a tax ID. It's not the most fun stuff, and that too can be extremely scary if you've never done any of that before. For me personally, doing that stuff now is like, yeah, whatever. It's done it many times, but the first couple of times of doing things can be really, really scary. So don't let that slow you down. Another one is Aesop's famous saying, slow and steady wins the race. I think that's an awesome approach to attaining our goals and dreams, because when we expend a tremendous amount of our resources all up front or right in the middle or right at the end, we really risk getting burned out. And, that might be finances. If you devote all your finances to starting a business up front and then you realize that you had no idea that, insurance was going to cost X amount of dollars, or, you had to have permits or whatever the case may be, it can really put you in a bind. So taking it slowly and steadily over the course of your journey can allow you to figure things out better. That may be your time. If you put all your time in or effort at one time, your family, for example, might be like, hey, we need you a little bit more, and you're not even here anymore, and that might be causing some kind of really difficult conflict in your household. Another one, energy. If you go balls to the wall with a fitness and health routine, and I think so many of us have done this, we're just all in and just so energetic about it. And of course, we are going to burn out. You're going to be super duper sore. You could cause yourself injury. It's all of a sudden not fun anymore. It really sucks. And then you're just done. You've burned out and you don't want to accomplish your goal anymore. Or maybe you want to, but you just don't. So take your time. Use your resources wisely and slow down. This isn't a race. Life is not a race. Okay? You're better than that. And if you're comparing yourself to anyone else and trying to match what they have accomplished, maybe they accomplished something in a shorter period of time, well, that's their story. That's their journey, and that's not yours. You may have more things to learn along your journey. Your journey may turn to a totally different place than the other person's did. So keep your eyes on your own path. Okay, another one. Do not fear taking time to assess the path that you're on. As you go along your path to your goals and your dreams, I've said this numerous times, you're going to be learning things. You're going to be meeting new people. And it's very possible that you come across something that just totally shapes your mind in a different way. And you've got to chase after this new thing that you've found out about. Or you may meet someone new and that completely changes the course of your journey, because you all of a sudden are going to try something totally different than what you set out on. That's awesome. And that is a good thing. So, just really focus on, is this working for you? Do you want to incorporate these new interests or new people into the journey that you're on? Or maybe you're just going to change everything altogether. that's a good thing. When I look back at some of the times in my life where I had a goal set and I was on that journey, I do see different points in time where I kind of wish that I had thought about that. Is this still working for me? And maybe changed course at that point. So really be mindful of where you're at, your mind and your heart, and make sure that everything is what you want it to be, because this is just about you and getting you to your goals and dreams. And along the way, you evolving into that beautiful lioness that you are. Okay, here's another one. I think that there is a really big difference between quitting a goal versus changing course. And I think that, if you are at that place where you're thinking, man, I just found out this and that, and I really think I want to go towards that instead of the previous goal that I had, don't feel guilty about that. And even if you've put finances and effort into your first goal, sometimes it's better to change course before you get too deep into something that you don't actually love. Maybe you were supposed to go out on that limb so you could figure out that you wanted to actually learn about something else and go in a totally different direction. Or maybe you realize that this goal or dream that you had isn't what you thought it was going to be, or this isn't the time in your life, but this new path that you found is really what's right for you. And just because you put in that time and effort on the first goal, it's not wasteful to change course. You shouldn't have guilt over that. So, for example, if you start a fitness and wellness routine and maybe you're doing yoga class and paleo diet, right? And you're not seeing any weight loss changes. Your body composition has changed. Nothing has changed. And you're still taking all of your medication and you're like, man, I'm so dedicated to this. And I've put all this time and effort into, everything that goes into going and taking yoga class and getting the clothes and getting the time and paying for the classes, and then throwing away everything in my kitchen to start over with the paleo diet and spending a lot of money on groceries. But maybe you're also having stomach issues because of the diet that you're on, and you're just like, this isn't working for me. There is no shame in saying, I've got to try something else for my fitness. Maybe you go get a personal trainer. Maybe you switch to Zumba. I don't know. And then maybe you try a low carb diet and you find out that that works for you. Or maybe you become a vegan and that works for you. But don't be headstrong and think that because you started out one way that you're somehow a loser because you don't continue going forward on that path. If it's not working for you, change course and find what works for you. And that will continually keep you motivated, because when you see that something's working for you, you will have that continued excitement and motivation along your journey. Again, it's not going to be every single minute. Again, if it's a health and wellness plan, there's going to be some times where you don't feel good. And this is really hard. And like schooling, if you're going back to college, there are definitely going to be times where it is not fun. You've got finals to study for and juggling, possibly a work and children and a husband and a house. It can get overwhelming. But if you know the reasons why you're doing it and why you're pursuing your passion, you can get through those darker, more mundane times to the really exciting parts, okay? And celebrating what you're going through. So guys, I hope that some of this has motivated you in your journey to your goals and your dreams. And again, just remember that you have so much strength and courage inside of you. You've got this lioness inside of your heart. And when you can grasp onto that power that you hold within you, you have an enormous amount of tools right at hand. And you are so powerful to move forward towards your dreams and pursue those passions So guys, lots of love, and I look forward to speaking to you all next week. Have a great one. Bye.